I've written 74 posts on Dev that generated 1 million views. And by that, making Nov one of the most popular open source repositories. 3 days ago, I started a new launch that resulted in 200 stars and 60 newsletter registrations. I usually bring traffic from channels like Dev.to, Hashnode, and Medium. The thing is that there is two types of option when you want to bring people to see your content. The first one is by searching for your content, let's say doing a Google search, searching how to do blah, blah, blah. And the other option is by browsing a website that brings you traffic. For example, Dev.to. So in Dev.to, usually every time I post something, I start to get a lot of traffic just from the platform itself. You can go to the traffic tab and see how much traffic you got from people browsing Dev.to. But the thing is that the last article that I wrote was a little bit sloppy. And I know that because I've written more than 50 articles so far. So what happened is something that I experienced before but never really paid attention, is that Google started to suggest this article to other people. And that was like crazy because usually I tend to see a lot of traffic coming from Dev.to, but this time it was the other way around. In Google, there is something called the suggested feed, and it's mostly for Android users. So it's kind of like the same thing when you go into YouTube and then you have this kind of suggestion on the main feed. So in my prediction, what happened is that I had such a good title and such a good picture for the article, I actually got a lot of clicks from Google, and that actually resulted in more than 15,000 views for the articles in 3 days. So basically, I got traffic and stayed on the main feed for a very long time. And I did that over a course of 1 day. So Google will find me on the main relevant feed, because what happens usually with dev articles is that a lot of people actually post stuff, but they never get any traction because Google are not suggesting their articles and they don't get any viewership from dev. Because most of these platforms, they have to get some kind of like a kickstart in order to start kind of like get the traffic in. So I already have 22,000 followers on dev from posting for 1 year. Honestly, it feels like bots. I have no idea how I get so many followers for every time I post. I get more followers than the actual likes and save and so on. But it is interesting. So what happened? How did I get to the main feed? Hi everybody, my name is Nevo. Welcome back to the channel. I usually talk about tech, open source, and mostly about marketing and how to mix all of them together. I hope you'll find this content valuable. If you like this content, please hit the subscribe and like button. So back to the article. So what happened that really made this article click? I think that it was mainly the title and the cover picture, and it's the same thing in YouTube, you know. If you really want to be successful with your video, that's like one of the most important things, and then after that the reading. But I don't think the same thing happens here with Google, because I think it's mainly about the clicks. What I did in the article and what can you do in order to do something similar to what I did. So I've seen a lot of articles on Dev.to, and most of them are very kind of like generic company-wise things like how to use API gateways. I mean, it's nice, it's the process, but the best thing usually is to actually sell the result. So my title was My Open Source Repository to Schedule All Your Content. You can see it here. So what's so special about this is that I could just write how to schedule all your content. But what actually I did, I sold the result. I said, my new open source repository to schedule all your content. And this gives the reader some kind of like self-achievement. They feel like this is like a one-person success. If they read this article, it might inspire them to have the same success for themselves, like kind of like a self-achievement. So that's like was the title, and I'm going to use in my next articles a lot of like my something instead of like we, like how and stuff like that. The second thing that was very popular is actually the cover picture. So here's the cover picture. I used a picture of a cat that say that it can schedule all your content. Obviously the cat will not do that, but that's very intriguing. What do you mean by this cat? And this cat actually looks like GitHub. What do you mean by this cat will schedule all your content? It's very intriguing. So both of them together, they are already super intriguing to read, to click and see the article. Now, the next thing was actually the intro of the article. So you want to build up to something big so people can really get this achievement. So instead of writing this like boring intro of I wanted to do XYZ, I started writing about XYZ and I did it. No, I started with something that actually not so relevant, but give a very big sense of achievement. I've said, I've written 74 posts on dev that generated more than 1 million views. And by that, making Novo one of the most popular open source repository with 31,000 stars. I realized that in order to do that, I need to do XYZ. This is why I built this repository that can schedule everything. I really gave like a good story for people to keep on reading. And actually, aside for that, the article was actually really boring. There was nothing really into it. Like, yes, a few description, it even looks like a changelog a little bit. Some screenshot and stuff, maybe some nice titles, and then like a few call to action to my GitHub. This generated more than 200 stars. So generally, this is just a proof of how much your title, your cover picture, and your intro can change your entire articles. I want to do a few kind of examples to show you the difference. So for example, somebody wrote 10 steps to build top tier Discord server for your open source community. I changed it to I have built top tier Discord server for open source. Another one, making a notification service with Rust and AWS SNS. I changed it to my approach for sending notifications with Rust and AWS SNS. Another one, interested in contributing to open source? Here is what you need to know. I've changed it to I have contributed to 10 open source projects and learned some shocking stuff. You want to intrigue people, you want people to come and read this. Sell the result, don't sell the process. This entire thing generated more than 200 stars. I'm going to keep on doing that. I'll update you about the progress very soon. Thank you and see you next time.